Hi, class, Dr. Earls. For this week 7, just briefly, I'll try to make this short. The fact of you're working on really small groups and a tighter formation to say, with three perspectives: how to help one another build upwards, more our relationship with Christ, more inwardly our relationships with one another's as fellow believers, and then outwardly how we can spur one another on toward love and good deeds that would directly build bridges to the lost, and our sharing Christ and his wonderful good news with them. I'm including with this a, a report I created about 15 years ago when I worked with the North American Mission Board with the Southern Baptist. We were trying to study churches that practice this as a strategic work weekly in the way they practice church. So I've created some studies on like 3 or 4 churches, all in other countries, but one in Louisiana, uh, trying to discover if what we were looking at in these other ministries called the G12, what the church in Seoul, Korea developed in the 1960s called cell groups, how could we maybe use this here in America? All that said, those are just testimonials as to what God has done that really testifies to what was happening in the first 2 centuries in the early church and what we see in Acts 2 and then throughout the rest of Acts, how that house to house, they were experiencing fellowship, but also it was very much involving them with their communities and reaching them for Christ and inviting and involving and including them into their house churches to share the gospel, expand the church, and build up believers to send out more workers into the harvest. So that's what you're working on this week. It's going to be something that will help you the rest of your life, because wherever you go and whatever God calls you to in your vocational practices, this will be your lifelong calling. My wife and I are at that point of retirement, and just reflecting together yesterday, we could travel half the time, but as wonderful as that could be to visit family and friends and see places, being participants in the gospel is what life is really all about for all of us as Christians. And so we want to be understanding how we can be building into one another's lives so that we build one another up to send one another out for the Savior. That's the pragmatism that this assignment you have this week. So if you have time to look at these other testimonials I will send to you as far as the Word document that's included, great. But I look forward to your papers this week you're working out. Thanks, class. Have a great week ahead. Bye.